Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Shannon, and I am the communications manager at Jubilee Housing. Welcome to the third edition or third episode of On Air with Jubilee Housing. I am here joined with Jason Ellis, VP of Programs at Jubilee Housing. And although we joke a lot at work, I am so excited to have you here to talk about your role and what you do and get some background and maybe we'll laugh a little bit too.
Sure. I appreciate the introduction, Jennifer, and I'm excited to share more about myself and Jubilee Housing more broadly and the work I do here.
All right, so we're gonna just jump right in and start with tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to Jubilee Housing, but also why you've been in housing for so long.
Sure. I have a very eclectic background, so it probably will take a longer episode than this one to talk about the background, but to kind of drill down to the core pieces, I have had about 25 plus years in the social services space, 12 years specifically in the affordable housing space, going on 13 while being here at Jubilee Housing. And I have a very specific passion for youth more broadly, resident services deeply, and certainly really driven by a mission to be impactful specifically for minorities, especially individuals who come from challenged financial backgrounds as well. So I really see my work as providing access to opportunities, really addressing barriers, opening doors, and really positioning individuals to make the best decisions for themselves. In that space, all of my opportunities for employment have really been mission driven. And so it was the mission that brought me here to Jubilee. I was really encouraged by the overall work and focus on resident services as a whole and how that's embedded in the affordable housing context, particularly seeing affordable housing as a platform for social change and really creating spaces within the confines of affordable housing to impact people's lives so that they can have a path to upward mobility, and more broadly, just a path to make better choices for themselves and their household.
Okay, nice. So what do you do as VP of Programs here at Jubilee?
Sure. So I have the honor and privilege of managing three departments here at Jubilee. Those departments are our reentry department, our resident services department, and youth services department. So I have roughly about 30 employees that report to me, which is a third of the organization. And I reference that not necessarily to speak to the role that I have here in the organization, but more to speak to the importance that Jubilee as an organization has placed on the human capital that we serve. It's, again, a third of the organization is devoted to serving our residents. And so I'm very excited to be in this particular role. Across the three departments, our youth department serves K through 18-year-old youth in an out-of-school time program, as well as a summer camp. We also have a Jubilee to College initiative where we provide college scholarships over the course of 4 or more years that an individual is there in a tertiary institution. We're actually looking to expand that and create opportunities for trade school scholarships or any individual that's trying to get ahead in life and do that next level of certification and training to really empower them and for their households as well. And so I'm very excited about our youth programming. We get some funding from DC government through our Learn 24 grant to support that initiative, always welcoming more funding opportunities. So if you're out there in the in the internet space and you are interested in youth programming, Jubilee is a great platform for that. And we certainly solicit your support either as volunteer or through financial support as well. We're making some tremendous impact in the lives of youth. We have other initiatives outside of our programming, like a back to school drive. We have our Elf Store initiative as well, where we provide toys for kids during the holiday period. So it's really a very wraparound initiative. Our staff is also very active in the community, interfacing with educators and parents to make sure that we're meeting the whole needs of the household. And then for our resident services initiative, we have a very robust operation addressing our social determinants of health for all of our residents, young adults, all the way through to our senior population as well. So we have an aging in place initiative, and we have service coordinators that routinely do wellness checks and do what we historically call case management, but our residents are not cases. I just use that for contextual reference. And their role is to make sure that we can develop goal plans for individuals and help them along their path of achieving those goals. So we have health initiatives, financial literacy initiatives, technology initiatives, cooking and nutrition initiatives, art classes, a host of opportunities for residents. But I think what grounds us is really making sure that we're responsive to resident needs. So we're not just throwing things out there for the sake of throwing things out there. Whatever the market calls for, whatever the upswell from our resident population calls for, that's what we're responding to. And we do a lot of that in partnership with the broader community, because we obviously cannot do all of this by ourselves. So again, I'm always going to make an appeal. So you're going to note that about me. If you are in the broader space and looking to partner with Jubilee Housing on some initiatives that help provide some added value to the lives of our residents, certainly we welcome that as well. But our staff are tremendous. They work tirelessly. They give of themselves in multiple ways to make sure that our residents feel safe, welcomed and supported here within the organization. And we have a myriad of special events as well: Thanksgiving, Hispanic Heritage Month, Black History Month celebration, all throughout the year, to make sure we're building a sense of community. Right now, we're also rolling out a resident leadership initiative across our population to provide some greater opportunities for residents, not only to be served by the organization, but to be of service to the organization and the broader community. Paramount in my mind is creating spaces where our residents can be impactful committees, commissions across the district as well, and really advocate for the work of affordable housing and the importance of that in the lives of individuals, and making sure that the district, Washington, D.C., is a welcoming place for all individuals, irrespective of race, economics, sexual orientation, that it is a welcoming space. So we want to make sure that we are championing that among our residents, and that they can take that message out into the broader community. And lastly, I just want to talk about our reentry program. That's been going on for 12 plus years here at Jubilee. And we're really creating spaces where individuals who have are faced with significant challenges coming back and getting reintegrated in society, that we are creating a platform for them that gives them an opportunity to successfully transition into regular society. So we provide homes, housing for them, to make sure that they can build, for those who are just coming out of incarceration, so that they can build a rental history, and that they have the stability of housing, that they can now address some of those other challenges that they may have, whether it's around education, whether it's through the legal system, whether it's through family reunification. But the security that comes through housing, we wanted to make sure that that was a first space for them, that they could have a landing pad coming out of incarceration. And then from there, we can provide some wraparound supports to help them best position themselves for success. Our two pillars are housing and employment. So that's what drives our reentry program. So one of those things that we do is making sure that we're getting our returning citizens tapped into opportunities where they can both gain skills, career and professional skills, as well as filtering them, working through some of our good partners in the community, such as Jubilee Jobs, to get them placed into employable situations across the district as well. And one of the things that we're really pushing for this year is making sure that it's not just about employment, but for individuals to gain a livable wage, understanding the economics of this day and age, that they can get a livable wage so that they can remain in the district. So we're wrapping around mentorship initiatives as well for our returning citizens. So bringing in individuals with similar lived experience so that they can help them navigate life and society, as well as, just to note, even among our staff, we have individuals with lived experience as well, so that they can have that strong rapport with our returning citizens. So for me, it's about providing that opportunity for success and giving them those doors, those pathways. But the other part, since I've been here, I wanted to make sure that we are not recriminalizing our returning citizens. So it's important to me to see that they are fully integrated in everything that we do as an organization. So as I mentioned, our youth program, as I mentioned, our resident services programs as well, our returning citizens have access to all of the resources that are available here in the organization.
You know what? That was
A lot.
of information and so much that you touched on. And I want to maybe go back a little bit to one of the first things that you said just about the investment that Jubilee is making into really the people that we're serving. That is important to you. I've been able to see some of the projects that you guys work on. Of course, not nearly enough because you are doing so much that we don't even recognize kind of the depth that you guys are going into people's lives. What makes the team that you have so special? Because I know each one brings something unique to this, as do you. As you said, an eclectic background. I know that you do a lot with the youth in your own work outside of Jubilee, your own nonprofit, and maybe you'll touch on that a little bit
Sure.
later. But what makes this team so special? Because I'm going to ask you to introduce them as well in a little bit. But what makes them so special and important in the work that you're doing to serve the community?
So I'm going to start way, way, way back. It may not be terribly far back, but because I've only been at the organization going on 18, 19 months. But I will say it was clear to me from the interview process, because the people who report to me now were actively involved in that interview process. And it was clear to me that they were looking for somebody of like mind, somebody who's equally passionate about our residents. And that it was not a job. It was, for want of better phrasing, it was a calling. It was something, you have to be, and I'll use a colloquial phrase, you're not new to this, you got to be true to this. That's kind of one of those situations. This is not a space for individuals who are trying their hand at something or trying to figure life out. You get into this space because you care deeply and passionately about others, sometimes above yourself. And I think that's what is the thread throughout everyone that's in my department, everybody that's here, and certainly everyone that I've been involved in bringing on board into the organization since I got here. Central to that is a focus on being mission driven. You can't teach care. It's either someone cares about individuals or they don't. They may have the competencies, they may have the education, but the care you can't teach. And I have seen that across the board for everyone that's within my department, that they deeply care. They'll go the extra mile. They'll work on weekends. Not that I'm advocating that, so I don't need anybody hating on me in the internet space.
I am going to say
I,
something about it
I
later.
am big on work-life balance. I am highly big on work-life balance. And sometimes I have to push back on my team and tell them, put down the phone, stop doing this, stop doing that. Like, to stay home and rest and decompress. But they still do, because they care very deeply about the residents that they interact with. They're at hospitals in the middle of the night if someone's having an episode. They're navigating things after hours if someone needs food and they're having some challenges otherwise.
So this episode is all about, basically sharing what supportive services is and who they are and what you do. And again, kind of magnifying all of the work, because I think it is maybe a little bit under the radar. I think, yes, we know that supportive services is a part of justice housing, and we have those wraparound services in thriving neighborhoods with deeply affordable housing. We kind of understand what the justice housing language is, but I don't think we've gone to the depth of understanding supportive services. So will you just introduce your team? Because we're going to talk to each one individually, and I want you to share just maybe one thought you have about them as you are telling us who they are.
Sure. I want to say, as I'm introducing my team, that I'm very happy of working with some very seasoned professionals. All of my staff have advanced degrees. And I say that because that's not necessarily a given, particularly in this space and for the work that we do. All of my staff have advanced degrees and have been in this field for many, many years. So they're doing it and they know what they're doing. So I will say that. So I'll start off by introducing our most senior staff person in my department, who is Audrey Walker. She's our director of our youth services program. I think she's been here 11 going on 12 years with the organization. Gina Day Williams is our Director of Reentry Services. She has been here about 10 years, thereabouts within the organization. Maya Morris is our Director of Resident Services, and she's been with the organization 4 years as well. So I'm the newbie within the team, but we work well. We work very well together. We spend a lot of time collaborating on new initiatives and opportunities as we're constantly iterating our operations. So one of the things I will say is that we're always champions for change. We always challenge each other. Critical feedback is important in the process. And so we're always looking at what we can do better, how we can improve our efficiencies, how we can improve our outcomes. And there's some work that I do with the team as a whole. But one of the things that we've also encouraged is for them to kind of work outside of me. I don't need to be in every room. I don't need to be in every space for conversations. And so they've taken upon themselves to create those spaces where they can collaborate and vision and champion new initiatives here within the organization. So very happy to work with them, and I'm happy to have their support as we're constantly working to make things better for our residents.
What is your vision for supportive services?
Oh, big, small, which one you want? I can't help myself but dream big. I don't go into spaces. As you mentioned, I work with kids. Separately from this organization, I run a nonprofit in Alexandria, Virginia, which is primarily focused on the arts. One of the things I always tell the kids is that I don't do basic. I say that all the time. I don't do basic. If I'm going to do something, the whole point of doing it is to be, above mediocre, is to be exceptional. And so when I came into this organization, one of the things that I wanted to do was to position my department as a model for this work across certainly this area, but certainly the country as well, to do it right and to do it well. I wanted to flex my 7 years of graduate studies in this space and kind of position some things within the organization to really be an exemplar for others in terms of how we do case management, how we do resident engagement, how we create our policies and our structures and our operations, that others can look to us and say, hey, this is how we can do it, and these are the results if we do it this way within their own organizations as well. So hopefully in the next couple of years, people will be knocking on our doors and saying, hey, can I get a representative from your organization to come to my affordable housing space, to come to my housing authority to talk to us about how we do this thing called resident services more broadly. So for me, that's kind of where I'm aiming for. It's not just about the impact, but it's really creating a framework operationally that others can look to and say, this is how it should be done. And they can replicate that within their own situations.
Okay. That was great. There was a lot of very valuable information, a lot that I'm learning. I can't wait to talk to the rest of your team. In the meantime, what else do you want to say about supportive services or Jubilee Housing as a whole?
Sure. And you've kind of alluded to some of this along the way when you're saying a lot of people don't know much of what we do. I've worked in a couple of different affordable housing spaces, and the theme has remained the same, unfortunately. Sometimes people see the work that's being done, particularly from a finance side, as money going out, not money coming in, because of the expenses that are associated with that. But for anybody that's in this space, funders are not interested in your new buildings. I'll just say that categorically. They're interested in the work that you're doing with people and how you are transforming lives. And so for the finance departments everywhere, your affordable housing situation may not be as successful without the work that's being done. We are the front-facing parts of the organization. We are the pictures that they put on the displays for the galas and the fundraising appeals, because of the transformative work that we are doing within the organization. So I'm always going to advocate for my department specifically, but this work more broadly, and just the need for others to understand that this is a professional field. It's a professional space. And I don't think a lot of people get that. So in some respects, I want to feel like people think that we babysit or, we're just, adult daycare or things of that nature. It's a lot deeper than that. There's a lot of, intentionality that goes into this work to make it as successful as it is. And so I want to elevate the lens that people have of this particular work, which is why I say I want to create that professional kind of setup for my shop so that other people can emulate that. So I just want to put that out there because I know that is a recurring thing in many affordable housing spaces. And for those that are in this work, that are a service coordinator or a youth coordinator somewhere or a program aide, it'll resonate with them because in many respects, sometimes we feel overlooked, not necessarily getting the respect or the recognition, for the work that's being done, the hard work, the tireless work that's being done in this space. So I want to shout that out on the mountaintops for anybody that's hearing about this particular work or may not even be familiar with it. And so if you're in a affordable housing context and you have the staff that's in that space, check in with them. Say hi, say thank you. We have teacher appreciation days. We have a whole lot of appreciation days around town. We may need an appreciation day for service coordinators and people in this space because they do a lot of tireless work. A lot of it is unrecognized and underappreciated. So before we get off, I just want to shout out, give a full shout out, full-throated, chest out shout out for the work that's being done in this space because it truly is an invaluable work. Whole households depend on us being great at our work, not average. They depend on us being great at our work. We don't have the luxury of dropping balls and being inadequate in our work performance because literally people's lives depend on it. And so I don't want to say that we are essential staff, but in a lot of respects, we become essential, especially in the operations of an affordable housing provider.
Y'all sound essential to me. I advocate for y'all being essential. I'm gonna go completely left. This is it. Like, I gotta joke with you for a second, Jason. You're from Jamaica.
Yes. If you didn't hear the accent, then shame on you, somebody not listening.
Shame on you. But you have a yard name. What is that? I mean, we've talked about it in the
office, talking about the yard name. Yes. So this is. I'm not sure if this is gonna make the final cut. I'll just put it out there. Put it out there anyway. So everybody, in Jamaica has. I don't call it an alias. It's not really an alias. You have a second name, which is not necessarily related to your first name. Like there's no correlation. It's not like a couple letters. It's a whole different name. So like growing up, all my family members, I call them by their yard name. So so we say yard because, it's just like Jamaican slang for anybody that's from Jamaica. Like you're a yard man, you're a yardie. So it's a yard name. So all my uncles, aunts, everybody had a separate name. And I didn't actually know people's real names until much later on in life. My personal name was Teddy, which is not anything related to Jason in any shape, form, or fashion. The only correlation I was trying to get or understanding of how my name came about when I was younger, and I'm not even sure this is even factual. They may have just been throwing stuff out just to get me to shut up. But because I sing, so maybe it's Teddy Pendergrass.
Okay.
Maybe. But I'm also I'm the huggy type. So growing up, I used to hug everybody. So it was like teddy bear. Again, don't take that to the bank. Somebody might have made that up along the way just to shut me up. But that's what I was told. But Teddy is what I go by. So family members call me Teddy. But that has clearly nothing to do with Jason.
Nothing to do with Jason, but I wanted to bring that up because I am going to end on one other question. How did growing up in Jamaica and your childhood influence where you are today?
Great question. So I grew up with very modest financial means, like very, very modest. My dad may have finished 9th grade. I think my mom finished 7th grade. I think that was the highest level of education that they had. But growing up, they always instilled in me the importance of education as a pathway for upward mobility. And so I never felt I had the option of not going to school or not doing well in school. to some respect, I would say I was sheltered, so I wasn't like running the streets or anything of that nature. But growing up in poverty and using education as my path out of poverty, I think that has informed a lot of my practice in terms of how I engage, particularly with youth, as well as how I engage more broadly populations. I always try to make sure that I create spaces for individuals to make choices, the best choices for themselves. And even in that, even in functioning in that space, I want to make sure that individuals feel empowered to take control of their own lives. Because I think that was important for me. So as I'm looking to be a change agent, what is always in the back of my mind is that I can't change people. So it sounds like there's some dissonance there, but I wanted to kind of throw that out there. So I want to operate as a change agent, but recognizing that I can't change people. I create spaces. I can build bridges, mend fences, open doors, but I can't change people, and I have to be okay with that. So as I grew up and the choices that I made, they were not necessarily choices that my cousins made or other people made, and may have taken other paths in life, but I want to honor people's choice to take those different paths. And even in the midst of all of that, also to make sure, particularly for kids, that everybody values continual learning, because education doesn't necessarily mean you go to a tertiary institution or trade school or whatever, but value continual learning, that you are always pouring into yourself, that you start off by investing in yourself, because that people can't take from you. Whatever you put in here, people can't take from you. And the more you know, knowledge is power. It empowers individuals to make better choices for themselves. So I think that's what drives me. Because I certainly lean into that, because education gives me options. Education gives me options. Education also makes me understand what my worth is, what my value is, and make decisions based off of that. And so I think it's important for me, as I'm communicating to individuals, for them to recognize themselves as vessels to pour into, to invest in themselves, whatever that is, whether they want to be a podcaster, whether they want to be a fashion designer, whatever they put their mind to, but invest in yourself, pour into yourself, because that's the best investment that you can make. So those are a couple of things that I know drives me, and the work that I do with individuals that I would say is grounded.
Thank you, Jason. This has been a pleasure. I'm happy I was able to speak with you today. We are going to continue to move this episode forward and bring in your team. We're going to bring in Gina Wiley,
Yes.
who was recently married. And so we're going to bring her in to talk to us about reentry. And I'm looking forward to that conversation as well. Thank you. And stay tuned as we continue to move through supportive services.
Thank you.